The retired swimmer and Olympic champion shared the news on Instagram. In a post, she says, "Welcome to the world, Albie Bennett Parsons." That's the latest from Radio News Hub. I'm Olivia Mouncer.
Radio Works. 4 in 10 young people turn to their parents for careers advice, according to new research from Avado Fast Futures, who plug the gap for young people between education and employment. Here is Managing Director Matthew Ansbro.
With work and roles changing, parents struggle to give advice. Fast Futures teaches digital business skills with mentoring from employers and equips young people with the knowledge and confidence to succeed in interviews and in jobs. 1,000 free places are available now for a June programme at avadolearning.com or searching.
Mostly dry today with sunny spells. 1 or 2 light showers possible for those in the east. Most, though, can expect light winds and highs of 8 Celsius.
नमस्कार। प्रेग्नेंट स्त्रियों के लिए एक विशेष सूचना NHS ENI की तरफ से। प्रेग्नेंट एशियन स्त्रियां 4 गुना अधिक कोविड-19 के चपेट में आ सकती हैं, जिससे उन्हें हॉस्पिटल में दाखिल होना पड़े। अगर आपकी तबीयत ठीक नहीं है और आपको कोविड-19 के सिम्टम्स हैं, तो आपको जल्द से जल्द मदद लेनी चाहिए। अगर आपको बुखार है, सूखी खांसी है या स्वाद और गंध की क्षमता चली गई है, तो सब ठीक हो जाएगा ऐसा समझकर घर पर ना बैठें। लोकल मैटरनिटी सर्विसेज 24/7 आपके लिए खुले हैं। अगर आप प्रेग्नेंट हैं तो जरूरी है कि आप कम्युनिटी मिडवाइफ या जीपी सर्जरी में अपॉइंटमेंट बुक करें। अगर आपको अपने स्वास्थ्य की चिंता है या अपने अनबॉर्न चाइल्ड के स्वास्थ्य की फिक्र है तो मदद लीजिए। अपॉइंटमेंट्स आपको फोन पर, वीडियो चैट पर भी हो सकते हैं।
If you're busy, being busy, running your busy business, let AC Tax Services plan for your future and account for your past. AC Tax Services can take care of it all. Year-end accounts, tax returns, PAYE and payroll, along with experienced proactive advice and planning to help your business grow. Call 0191 249 8720 or find AC, that's ACC, Tax Services on Facebook. AC Tax Services, your local accountants and tax advisors.
The COVID-19 vaccination programme will be the biggest in the history of the NHS. Across the North East and North Cumbria, thousands of people will be vaccinated at our dedicated COVID-19 vaccination centres. To make it happen, your NHS needs your help. There are hundreds of new jobs and volunteering opportunities available at locations across the region. Visit covidvaccinejobs.nenc.com now to see how you can play your part in fighting the virus.
Oh, Kaz was upset and I didn't know what to say.
Jenny was great. She just listened.
4 hours to get to the coast.
I got to see the sea.
And I burnt Kaz's birthday cake.
That cake was rank, but making it was wicked.
As a foster carer, your bad day could be their best day. The Children's Family Trust are not-for-profit and offer real support for their carers.
Apply for the world's most rewarding career.
Search the Children's Family Trust.
नमस्कार। एक विशेष सूचना गर्भवती स्त्रियों के लिए जो NHS ENI की तरफ से दी जाती है। साक्ष्य बताते हैं कि गर्भवती स्त्रियों में विटामिन डी की कमी होती है जो कोविड-19 की चपेट में आ सकते हैं। इसीलिए ये सलाह दी जाती है कि गर्भवती स्त्रियां प्रतिदिन एक 10 माइक्रोग्राम विटामिन डी की गोली लें। ये दवाएं सुपरमार्केट्स और फार्मेसी के काउंटर पर उपलब्ध हैं। गर्भावस्था के दौरान विटामिन डी लेना बहुत सुरक्षित है। ये सलाह NHS की तरफ से दी जाती है। अगर आपको अपने या नवजात शिशु के स्वास्थ्य की चिंता है तो आप जल्द से जल्द मदद लीजिए। मैटरनिटी यूनिट से संपर्क करें जहां आपने अपने बच्चे की बुकिंग की है। ये सूचना भी आपको NHS ENI की तरफ से दी जाती है। अधिक जानकारी के लिए कम्युनिटी मिडवाइफ या GP से संपर्क करें।
For the community, by the community. Spice FM 98.8 FM.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning, Amar. How you doing?
Good. There's lots of information in that space place.
Wow. It's time of, well, I guess we do need all the information we can get, community information. Ultimately, that's what Spice FM is all about, isn't it?
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. Oh, how things?
Good, Amar. I can only do half an hour, I'm afraid. I've got a big meeting at 10:30 and I couldn't get out of it because there's a number of people involved. So,
oh my God.
So hence I'm parked in a car park somewhere.
Exciting.
So, yeah, I went.
More exciting.
Yes, very exciting. It is.
Is it part of the reboot, reinvigoration?
It's all around April. Obviously, the April the 12th reopening plans. So we're just lining those things up at the moment. So yeah, I think there's a lot of I think that there's going to be lots of activity on April the 12th, which is only kind of 4 or 5 weeks away now. But everything needs so much planning and organized, and it's effectively, imagine everything's being shut and then you have to go and reopen again, and you just really hope that, you know, when you reopen after another 3-4 weeks, they don't shut you down again, because I don't think maybe on the ground they don't understand the level of effort, time, effort, energy, and money is required when you have to reopen things that have been shut down for 6 months or 3 months or however long it is, because you just it's not just getting the magic wand and saying, here you go, everything's ready. I mean, if you imagine the cleaning that's required, Amar, and when something is, if you imagine a property that's vacant for 6 months, I mean, that property, you know, without constant use and constant maintenance, the paint is dry, it's damp, it's dirty, it's dusty. You know, there's so many things that need to be done to it. So there's a lot of work involved in every single operator around the country, and I just hope that, you know, the government is aware of all the efforts that are being made by small and large businesses to get things back, partially back up and open and running on April the 12th, and hopefully fully open and running on the 17th of May, and like they've said, in June, where things are as normal as they can be prior to the first lockdown in March of last year. So and even if there are the biggest variants of COVID in the ever from the forest of Amazonia in Brazil, they have to just say that, look, you got to get on with it, guys. You know, so they just can't be shutting down the country again. They really can't, because the consequences are just going to be so severe. I mean, I think the people that are still hanging on there, Amar, they were probably those that were in a slightly better picture than most. So I don't know how many people not going to be able to open in April and May, but you know, we'll see for ourselves what that is, because surely there's going to be those that haven't been able to pay the December rent quarter, the March rent quarter, which is coming up,
well, it's coming
and the
up,
rent quarter before that.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, all the big invoices are coming in already for March the 24th rent quarters. So it'll be interesting to see, you know, who the survivors are. By April and May.
Yeah, I must admit, it is slightly concerning and very worrying to see the potential impact that is on the horizon. And I think you're absolutely right. If we don't continue, this is the last chance for so many businesses. They're already in a pickle, and we talk about this every single week, Jack. You know, the businesses are so much in a pickle already that we're starting again using all of that resource, all of that energy, all of that will and willpower to then potentially be kicked in the teeth. That would just be the cliff edge. So if we go back into a lockdown, then it's going to be scary.
I think, imagine you spend all this money that all the businesses are doing. You got the time, you got the planning. You know, if you got outside seating, for example, and you don't have outside seating, you make the application, you invest that money, and you get all of that done, and all of a sudden they say, oh, sorry, we're not open. But what about that extra money that's been spent? I mean, you just can't continue to do what you've done. I appreciate that there's going to be some support out there in terms of grants and furlough and this, that, and the other, but that's not enough. We don't want the support. Don't get me wrong. It's not that we don't want the support. We just want stability, as we discussed last week. So hopefully, there is so many people that are just very, when I speak to people, I feel as though that they're very wary of changes to what's been set out on the roadmap. All of a sudden,
so what do you mean?
I mean, they're basically wary that, look, do we go ahead and go full throttle ahead and make all the business changes and spend all the money for them to turn around and say, oh, this variant has come along and you have to shut down again. Yeah. That's the worry.
Well, it's happened. It's happened 3 times, hasn't it?
Well, that's the thing, Omar. So for myself as an individual, whilst I'm looking forward to moving things on, but I'm very tentatively, I'm still want to keep my grassroots business, the way our survival methods that we've instilled, which is simply just focused on takeaways. How do you retain that? Because you can't have everything under one roof because it's so difficult. So how do you retain that if things do go, the worst case scenario does kind of materialize? So I guess you have to have that backup plan. I think everyone should.
Yeah.
And how do you quickly adjust to your backup plan if that's the thing that's going to keep you afloat? I think you should have that contingency, and that should be a solid backup plan.
Oh, without a doubt. And contingency and backup is key. The challenge we've got is the level of uncertainty, Jeff. So the problem is it's really, really hard to prepare for what you don't know. And you don't know what you don't know is part of that challenge. And of course, you can try and prepare for the extreme. But if you're trying to prepare for the extreme, then naturally the problem with that is if you said, right, I'm going to potentially be, we're going to enter into another lockdown, right? If that's what you're preparing for, well, you'd be sat here now saying, well, what's the point? Why should I throw some money at something? Why should I invest all of this time, effort, and energy, get my hopes built up? You know, it's incredible to see the reaction and the response to the unlockdown. The news there that you were just listening at 10 a.m. just prior to us highlighted there's been a 35% increase in the cost of UK holidays, right? Festivals, nightclubs, bars, like all of these places, all of these spaces, they've booked out.
I mean, Amar, I think it's the prices. Unfortunately, I don't think all members of the public that are not in business, they're aware of what's going on in the world in terms of why cost increases must happen. So, for example, if you want to get, there's been a movement away from plastics into recyclable good plastics and craft and all of this eco-friendly packaging and A, B, C, and D. Now, there is one operator, one international operator that's basically hugging all of the world's cardboard, meaning that the shortages, I'm not joking about it, the shortages.
I know that.
The shortages in cardboard is just incredible. You try and order something which previously would have taken 6 weeks, just some bags, to now them saying, oh, look, I'm really sorry, but we can't get the raw materials in for another 9 months because they're on a waiting list. And then the costs that they've honored for X amount of years, they said that, look, forget that. We have to recost this. And they're almost charging you double for packaging. And you can't even get the packaging, that's the problem. So what on earth can we do as an operator when our supply chain is absolutely decimated and we can't do anything about it? And once you do get a hold of something, the prices have gone up so much, we have no choice but to pass it on to our costs. And then you're going to get not the complaints, but that's the reason why the prices are going to go up across the board in every single business, I bet. And those that are not doing it, I don't think that they're going to be surviving for very long.
Well, the challenge is it's not just in any particular supply chain, it's across the board. Yeah. So construction, right? Now, I've been talking to a number of individuals across its construction. There's a 10% increase in the last week just in insulation. There's a 15% increase. So this isn't just one-off increases. These are ongoing increases. So the cost, give you an example. You know, there's a build that was costed last year, right? And it was costed at X. The cost of that same build, purely from a materials point of view, is 30% higher.
Well, there you go. And that's the basic issues that we are facing now in this new kind of arena of business. I bet you it's the 1% that have got this locked down, and they're the ones that will be benefiting from all the cost increases and everything, because, you know, it's just every single other person has to suffer. And it's going to be so challenging. I think when it comes to the point where the supply chain is absolutely hit and you can't, okay, so what would we do, Amar? Let's say if I can't get any of my craft takeaway bags, what am I going to do? I mean, if you can't get them, you can't get them. So what options do I have? What, resort back to plastic? I mean, I really don't know what's going to happen when that time comes. So, I mean, how much extra can you order? You know, do I go and order, instead of my 10,000 order, do I order 30,000 in anticipation of things getting worse? Where do you package it? Where do you store it? And what if things actually go back to normal and the prices come down? So there's all sorts of, I mean, this is just a small example where businesses will face issues. But I think the supply chain, I'm very nervous about. And since Brexit happened as well, Amar, there's a lot of suppliers that are really struggling to get things into the country. So it's
I think, well, it's exit, EU exit. There's a whole range of issues and challenges. So you've got COVID, you've got EU exit. There's almost like a perfect storm. So not only is there some green shoots, you know, it's spring and it's beautiful to see spring and things like that happening, but not only are there some green shoots, there's some torrential rain and some horrific weather that'll potentially impact those green shoots popping up and growing. So the way we work, the environment, our business models, I've been raving on about this for the last 12 months. Check your business models, work out, you know, your whole value proposition, and make sure that you still have a desirable, feasible, and viable business. Because if you don't, you're going to fall off a cliff.
Yeah. So you do need to look, at the end of the day, we've had enough time to understand what's been happening in our country over the last year or so. And, you know, you should have adapted your business model by now anyway. And if you haven't, then adapt it very, very quickly. Try and understand, you know, if you're in business, try and understand, maybe it's go get a few, if you haven't been in your shops or whatever you have recently, maybe it's go in and get a feel for it. Get a feel for, you know, your audience, your market, try and understand what has changed within their mindsets, and because you have to adapt and be versatile. And if you don't, then unfortunately, I think they're going to really, really struggle.
Yeah.
So there's
you know, I think it's hard, but it's exciting, Jeff. Everybody's like, you can see how much everybody's gearing up though, can't you?
Of course, you can feel it. You can sense it, and I think people are basically, they are just sick. They want some normality back. They want to go and socialize. They want to go and meet their friends. And
do you think that will happen? Like, as in, see, I'm like all of these festivals, and you're seeing all these pictures and people sort of all gearing up. do you really think it will get to a point where everyone will want to be next to everyone to the same proximity that everyone used to be?
Judging by the reservations that we've been getting and the sheer number of inquiries about outside seating and the May opening, I think, you know, table for 16s and stuff like that coming in, and we're saying to them, well, look, you know, your table for 16 is subject to government regulations. So I think Armada will. I think there'll be a percentage that's cautious, but I think it's very small. But I think I personally, from what I see, it's all subject to what the government say.
Yeah.
I think people are genuinely, it's as though they're like, you know, it's like a racing car, just kind of, you know, it's on the line and it's just waiting to release itself and go. And if the government turn around and say, oh yeah, I'm going to start the eat out scheme or whatever, something like that, then they're going to loosen the shackles and everyone is going to go out and they're going to be crazy. But I think if they don't do anything like that, I think it's not going to be quite as, I don't think there'll be that same level of intensity, but I think people will definitely go out for sure, because, you know, I want to go out into the city centre and I want to go out into the shops and I want to go and feel, it's not even the shopping, it's just being part of that. You know, when you go into Christmas shopping previously and you were waiting in queues and there was like madness everywhere, you're bumping into everybody.
Yeah.
Well, actually, that's the experience that you loved. At the time, you might have a moan about it, but that's what experience is all about.
Yeah.
So is that going to go back to that?
Well, I don't know whether we loved it, did we? We just, it's something that we miss now.
But the hustle and bustle of Christmas shopping, you gotta like, it's part of, you know, the kids have to experience it because it's something that they.
Look, there's some kids who have never experienced it. And rest assured, Jaff, if I asked, you know, any of my children, do they want to come into town and do they want to experience that Christmas hustle and bustle, they'd probably tell me where to go, because actually what they're more interested in is sitting in front of a screen and just doing that all day long. It's incredible to see the level of digital adoption and adoption. And really, I'm just scared by that level of impact on young people and what it's done to them, sort of physically, mentally,
socially.
It's
emotionally.
So the likelihood is it's only people like us, Jaff, who have experienced the hustle and the bustle, who might have gone to a festival or two, who have gone to these places and spaces, that truly miss all of that interaction and engagement. Young people.
Christmas parties, man. Christmas parties, Amar. You used to have so many Christmas parties with your tuck.
You don't celebrate
with your
Christmas.
tuck.
It was like, as in, just imagine, you know, the dinners. What about the ABC? Our dinners, John? How good were they?
Well, that along with all the other dinners in the month of December.
Well, October, November, December, you know, it's crazy. It's crazy, is what it is. So, you know, for me, it's particularly concerning that there's going to be even more of a shift between young people, what they want, how they live, how they operate. I mean, gosh, you know, it's interesting, isn't it, that you can just do everything online? Like literally.
I think it's sad.
Well,
it's sad. It's not
the future, isn't it?
Well, I think we have to be careful that we don't kind of go into that with all fours. Really, we have to exercise a little bit of caution when we can, because unfortunately, I don't think it's a good thing for humanity. Technology is amazing, but being so reliant and technology being the be all and end all of everything, I think it's a very, very worrying situation because, like you said, you know, when I can see the difference between someone who's 30 and someone who's 20, and I can see how technology has impacted them so negatively in terms of their social skills. They're just so robotic in their mentality. They can't use their own initiatives. They don't know what to do in a scenario that they've never been before because it's not coded into their heads. Oh God, hold on, I've got to say this. So I've actually had conversations with members of my staff telling me that, oh well, why don't you write everything down, every single scenario on a piece of paper? You know, so for example, there could be a man coming in wanting to use the toilets, and he's a bit of a junkie, and he's like not leaving the restaurant. You know, there's so many instances that you can't cover, but if you had a bit of common sense, you would know at that moment you have to be a bit firm, a bit decisive, and be polite at the same time, and you know, just say, I'm really, really sorry, sir, but due to COVID, but they literally they can't do it when they come to a situation where that they've never experienced before, and I think that's because the technology makes you a bit antisocial. Your social skills go out the window, and you become so ingrained and set in terms of you become systematic, don't you? So when you lose that social interaction, because like you said, you're in your computer all the time and you're not going out and playing football and hustling on the streets like we did, you know, and having one or two little fights at school and that kind of thing, and you know, that kind of builds you up. It makes you savvy, it makes you socially aware, it makes you smart, it makes you streetwise, it makes you know what to do, and it builds your instincts. Yeah. I think instincts go when you're just so technology orientated. So,
well,
so I don't know.
There's a whole host of things that are impacted, right? So initiative goes as a, it's just incredible, is what it is. So it's actually really, really sad. But on the other side, don't forget, automation allows you to grow. So innovation, digital transformation, and internationalization, they're the three biggest growth factors for any organization. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, absolutely.
You know, as in, I just sort of concerns me, as you say, that that we're moved this way. But on the other side, I need to accept and acknowledge that. Did you watch the budget and that?
Not really, to be honest. Obviously I've got an insight into what was said. Look, it's what it is. I think corporation going up to 25%. My God,
in Newcastle. Spice FM 98.8 FM.
कोविड-19 कोरोना वायरस के सिलसिले में हुकूमत की तरफ से आपके लिए ताज़ा तरीन हिदायत। ये निहायत जरूरी है कि हम सब घर पर रहें। हमें सिर्फ इन वजूहात की बिना पर अपने घर से निकलने की इजाजत है। अगर आप किसी की देखभाल करते हैं या किसी के केयरर हैं, वो जरूरी काम जो आप घर से नहीं कर सकते या जरूरी खरीदारी के लिए आप अपने घर से बाहर जा सकते हैं। घरेलू तशद्दुद या कोई जरूरी तिब्बी इमदाद के लिए अगर आप अपने लिए या अपने खानदान के लिए कोई मेडिकल सपोर्ट चाहते हैं तो आपको अपने घर से बाहर जाने की इजाजत है। आप अपने खानदान के अफराद के अलावा किसी दूसरे से अपने या दूसरे के घर पर नहीं मिल सकते। ये इंतहाई जरूरी है कि हम हुकूमत की दी हुई गाइडलाइन से जुड़े रहें और उस पर अमल करें। मजीद मालूमात के लिए आप गवर्नमेंट या NHS की वेबसाइट से राबता कर सकते हैं। घर पर रहें, अपनी और दूसरों की जिंदगियां बचाएं, NHS को बचाएं। शुक्रिया।
कोरोना वायरस ਦੇ ਮਸਲੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਾਡੀ ਗਵਰਨਮੈਂਟ ਨੇ ਇਹ ਖਬਰਾਂ ਭੇਜੀਆਂ ਆ। ਸਾਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਗਿਆ ਆ ਕਿ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਘਰ ਵਿੱਚ ਰਹਿਣਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਆ। ਇਜਾਜ਼ਤ ਸਿਰਫ ਇਹ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਲਈ ਆ ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਿਸੇ ਦੀ ਦੇਖਭਾਲ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ ਜਾਂ ਫਿਰ ਕਿਸੇ ਦੇ ਕਹਿ ਰਹੇ ਆ, ਜੋ ਕੰਮ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਘਰ ਤੋਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਜਾਂ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਸਮਾਨ ਦੁਕਾਨ ਤੋਂ ਲੈਣਾ ਪਿਆ ਜੇ ਡਿਲੀਵਰੀ ਨਾ ਆਈ ਜਾਂ ਫਿਰ ਮੈਡੀਕਲ ਸਪੋਰਟ ਲਈ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਕਿਸੇ ਦੇ ਘਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਾਣਾ ਜਾਂ ਫਿਰ ਆਪਣੇ ਘਰ ਨੂੰ ਕਿਸੇ ਨੂੰ ਬੁਲਾਉਣਾ ਮਨਾ ਆ। ਇਹੋ ਜਿਹੀਆਂ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਆ ਜੋ ਸਾਡੀ ਗਵਰਨਮੈਂਟ ਨੇ ਭੇਜੀਆਂ ਆ। ਗਾਈਡਲਾਈਨਸ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਜੁੜੇ ਰਹੋ। ਹੋਰ ਇਨਫੋਰਮੇਸ਼ਨ ਲਈ ਤੁਸੀਂ gov.uk ਜਾਂ ਫਿਰ nhs.uk ਤੇ ਜਾ ਸਕਦੇ ਆ। ਘਰ ਵਿੱਚ ਰਹੋ, NHS ਦੀ ਰੱਖਿਆ ਕਰੋ ਤੇ ਜ਼ਿੰਦਗੀਆਂ ਬਚਾਓ।
Spice FM. Spice FM. Hotter than a Vindaloo curry. 98.8 FM.
Yeah. So, apologies for those of our exclusively English-speaking friends and listeners. They may not have understood both of those community announcements, but fundamentally what they were saying was stay at home. That was it. So we're in a lockdown. It's interesting, Jaff. People are still, people have all of a sudden sort of got this news, and you see more people out and about, and there's more hustle and bustle and activities, things like that. 40% of 80-year-olds, so here was a statistic, 40% of 80-year-olds who've had the vaccine have been out and about.
Good, man. Good on them.
Right. You need to stop advocating this.
But they're allowed to be. But they're allowed to be out and about. So why should they not be?
It's a lockdown. You're not allowed to go out and meet people.
But you can go out for your daily walks and stuff.
All
You're allowed to go out for your daily walks.
About they are breaking lockdown rules. Anyway, Jeff, I'm going to get my vaccine.
Hey, man, they're 80 years old, man. Go on, what are you going to do? Go and tell them off.
Yeah.
They're 80 years old. Let them be.
Follow the law. It's what all of us should be doing. I've got my vaccine at 4 o'clock today.
Good luck, my friend. And look, I wish you, and genuinely, I hope that, look, the vaccine is a great thing. I think lots of people that I know, friends, peers, young, old, a lot of people have already had the vaccine. And thankfully, I have none of them. They've had little side effects.
What have been the side effects? What have they been?
Like this guy, he started to get, his boobs started to get kind of pretty big, like a lady's size.
What?
Kind of, yeah, but other than that,
silly. That's ridiculous. Why would you say such silly things like that?
I think the side effects have been a little bit of pain in the arm. I'm just feeling a little bit unwell for a day at most. So I think, I would suggest you maybe have a couple of paracetamol before you take it, and just plan to be chilled tonight, and hopefully
that's why I thought actually I'll have it on a Friday, because I've been doing so much from a delivery point of view. Jeff, I delivered 6 workshops this week, right?
That's good.
3 to the NHS. Which was incredible. And I signed a trade deal. I signed a trade deal with Pakistan on Monday. That was live.
Excellent.
Right? And then we done a culture one. We ran an accelerator, and I've ran so many other things. Anyway, it's been crazy. I know you're trying to run away. I'm just trying to keep you here. But
no, I'm hopefully look, have a relaxed weekend, put business to one side, get things whatever little pains you're gonna have.
Sorry, did you just really say put business to one side?
For the weekend, man, this weekend you have to do it. Just be chilled. Relax.
How can you be chill? Have you ever put business to one side?
Yeah, but look, at the end of the day, I think if you're having a vaccine, from what I would recommend, from what Justin and her, who's medically more aware than myself, when her friends and family have had it, she's always said to all of them, look, just have your paracetamol and just be really chilled for that night, so that you're really relaxed and you let your body get used to it, and you don't over exert yourself, basically. Right, I've got to go because I'm gonna have lots of people waiting.
But I'm gonna do a demonstration. I'm gonna do a live demonstration and talk through the business model canvas. So I'm going to talk people through a business model. I'm going to give people some real insight, and I'm going to do a presentation live on Spice FM. So sorry if you're listening to this, but I'll be talking all the way through it, and also recording it and sharing it more broadly. Jaff, you're going to be back next week on time.
Yep.
Committed. Why didn't you arrange the meeting? Some other time?
No distraction. It wasn't. I'm part of just a group, so I couldn't change 10 people's situations.
What?
So anyway, Good to speak to you all. Enjoy, and I'll catch up with you after the weekend. Take care. Bye.
All right, take care. Bye-bye. Thanks, Jeff. And there we have it. Jeff on his mission, telling me to put the business to one side. As you can see, he's devoted, dedicated to the cause. Okay, so what am I going to do? I'm going to talk to you, and I'm going to continue to try and keep you entertained, engaged, and really looking to inform you as well. So you're listening to, we didn't do the introduction this week, for which I apologize. So you're listening to Amar and Jeff live on Spice FM, although he's not quite live anymore. And each week we bring you some news, views, and one or two clues from the business world. Asian Business Connections aims to connect, support, and promote the Asian and wider business communities. So whether you have an existing business, want to start a business, or just want to talk business, we can help. So thank you to everyone who tunes in on a Friday morning, and appreciate we're live on Facebook as well. So if you're lucky enough to watch us, and then kindly this video is integrated into our weekly newsletter as well. So lots of different mediums, lots of ways of us communicating and engaging with you, and hopefully everything that we share with you in the main, whilst it's our own personal views and needs to be acknowledged as that, it's not an endorsement on behalf of any organization or any entity other than ourselves. So what you hear is from me, Amar, and Jaff personally, nothing to do more broadly. Although if we're about to share some insights and give you some details and content relating to business model and things like that, then clearly that is proprietary, it is protected, and I would need to highlight that fact. What am I going to do? Well, actually, I thought I'd take advantage of the opportunity here to really sort of help you understand the conversation that we've been having for some time, which is around business models. What are they? What do they look like? And what is the importance of them? So for the next, how long have we got? Sort of 20 minutes. I'm gonna share with you a presentation that I've pulled together, and I apologize that if you're listening in via Spice FM, that you will not necessarily be able to see these. However, I'm going to talk you through the principles of business model, value proposition, and such like. And if you're interested, the video will be available on the ABC Facebook page. I'll also be recording this and sharing it with you. So without further ado, let me do share the screen via Zoom. So let's do this. Let's hit the record button. Let's share the screen. I'm going to share it, and you're going to get to be able to see this, which hopefully will enable you to see what we're doing in a meaningful way. In the meantime, we have the budget, as you have undoubtedly seen and would have seen today. Lots of news, lots of interest from lots of individuals on across the Northeast. Sadly, some of the expectations for the Northeast, not Tees Valley, were Freeport being created and also the Treasury. And it was sad that it wasn't 2 Freeports across the Northeast and Tees Valley as opposed to 1, but fantastic news for Tees Valley. If you're in any of those areas, you're going to see mass growth, huge impact by the Freeport, by the Treasury jobs coming into Darlington, and by the level of investment. So exciting news, probably amazing news, to be honest. So what am I going to do? I'm now going to quickly share my screen, if I may, and I'm going to share with you some real insights into what we talk about, what we support, and looking forward to looking at how we can support each and every one of you. So you're probably seeing a screen now. I'm hoping that you can see a screen. If you can, wonderful. So let's hit the record button. And for the next few minutes, apologies that I'm mumbling and bumbling in this regard, but hopefully you're going to get lots of value. Okay, so business model, value proposition, what is it? This is something that we deliver to help organizations start, survive, and thrive. It's a concept that's been around for quite some time, and it's predicated or based on this service design principles. So service design is a double diamond, and it fundamentally illustrates the approach that you should take when you are looking at a problem or an opportunity. So at the beginning of this cycle is the double diamond. So you identify the problem, the opportunity, you discover insight into the problem. So you go broad, you go out wide, you define the area that you're going to focus upon, and then you come back in. So you're clear on what the problem or the opportunity is. And then from that, you have a design brief. That's where you should be starting to look at potential solutions. Lots of people actually start in the middle rather than being clear on the opportunity and or the problem. So once you've defined it, go back out, potential solutions, come back in, deliver solutions that work. So double diamond, as you can see, is this process. So you start by discovering and defining the problem or opportunity, including how it impacts people, and then develop and deliver solutions targeted to the stakeholders impacted, a person-centered, empathetic approach. So it's all about the person at the middle of this. Business models. So business model, and this is really interesting because so many people don't understand what a business model is or the purpose of it. And a business model describes the rationale of how an organization creates, delivers, and captures value. So the term business model has gained incredible popularity in the last decade as one of the most important ways of approaching business innovation and business strategy. We use the term business, but this can be used for anything that you're doing. So if you're a charity, if you're thinking about looking at going to university, if you're looking at any personal or private endeavor, you can use this model. But this model is quick, it's illustrative, you're getting the business model highlighted on a single page. And if you're like most people, you probably define business model as a company's plan for making money. And you're not the only one. Probably 80 to 90% of people think like that. The business model is not just that, it is much more. The term is still relatively new and still raises a lot of doubts about its definition and how it works. In fact, an efficient business model is much more comprehensive and deeper than how a company charges its customers. It involves identifying customer segments, delivery channels, key partners, among other things. it is much more than simply establishing how a company makes money. It's about explaining how it can create and deliver value to consumers. So you've got these various aspects of a business model. We're going to talk a little bit more about this business model canvas, which is a strategizer tool that's been developed, and we support hundreds, if not thousands of organizations understand their business model and take them through this process. Fundamentally, you've got the front, which is the front stage where you create value. You've got the backstage, that's everything that happens in the background, behind the scenes, where you deliver value. And the bottom line is the bottom line, where you capture value. So you go through this process, but the objective is to identify the product and or service to be sold, as well as the public to whom it will be offered, whilst anticipating the expenses involved in that entire production and sale process in pursuit of the established goals. So according to management guru Peter Drucker, a business model is supposed to answer who your customer is, what value you can create, add for the customer, and how you can add that at a reasonable cost. In general, in addition to offering a direction for the enterprise, the business model also serves to attract investors, recruit talent, and motivate the team. Business model is an important tool in today's world. So the business model has components that relate to marketing, sales, where they create value, operations, where they deliver value, and finance, where they capture value. Although the business model conceptually has three main components, the business model canvas, which is what we use, which is the most popular tool for business modeling, has a more detailed approach based on 9 construction blocks. The 9 blocks are: 1, customer segments; 2, so customer segments is who are your customers? So is that business to business, business to consumer? Is it mass market? Are you going to sell the same thing to everyone? Is it a niche market? Is it diversified? Appreciate there's some technical terms here, but in essence, business model starts by identifying who your customers are. The second part of the business model is your value proposition. So what value are you going to bring to those customers? And we're going to give you a couple of examples in a little minute. But fundamentally, you go from customer segment, who are your customers? What value are you going to offer them? And then the channels that you're going to use to engage them, the relationships that you develop with them, and then the revenue streams. Are you going to make money? And then you move to the backstage, which is what key resources do you need? What key activities are you going to undertake? What are your key partners? And what is the cost structure? Fundamentally, business model needs to demonstrate these 3 aspects for you to have a desirable, viable, and feasible business. So can we create value? Can you capture value? Can you deliver value? So lots of organizations or individuals don't necessarily look at these 3 critical components to determine the success of their business. So desirable, is someone going to buy your product or service? I've come across so many people who come up with an idea, throw lots of money into it, and they haven't tested the market. They haven't spoken to any of their potential customers to see, would they buy it? And there's lots of different approaches. So there's a mum test that I'll share more details with you. The mum test is where you go and ask your mum, Mum, will you buy this? And your mum's always going to go, oh yeah, of course I will. And will you give us £20 for it? Yeah, of course I will. And really, you go away and you go, great, well, if my mum's going to buy it, then everybody else must buy it. However, it's what questions you ask to determine whether it will bring any value and whether it's truly desirable. So is it desirable? Will someone buy it? Is it feasible? Can you deliver it? So you might come up with the greatest idea in the world, but do you have the resource, the capacity, the confidence, the competence to go and deliver it, and the money? And then fundamentally, is it going to make money? So I've come across so many people and businesses where they might have got the desirability, they might have got the feasibility, but they haven't got the viability. So they don't know that actually the company's never going to make profit. There's so many business models out there that are operating on a loss basis, which is an interesting business model in itself. What should you do? And this is the thing that lots of people and individuals and organizations don't do. They come up with an idea, so they come up with a business idea, they make some assumptions, and then that's it. This particular cycle suggests that you should come up with a business model, you should make some assumptions, you then come up with some hypotheses, some experiments. So how am I going to test whether people are going to use it or buy it, or how do they use it, and map that out, and you test the format, you test the setup, you test. It's a bit like that plan, do, review, with the biggest part happening in the plan and the review part. Lots of people get caught up in the do part, and it's interesting and natural to do that, but the plan is critical. 1 minute in planning can save you 10 minutes in doing, and so many people fail to do the review part. So is this still fit for purpose? And this is the point that we were trying to make earlier on, Jaff and I, when we were talking about validate your business model. Look at, are people still going to buy it? Can you still make money from it? And can you deliver it? Here's an example of value in essence. So apologies on Spice FM if you can't see the presentation that I'm delivering. But how a business model works, to better understand how a business model works, let's look at an example. If you look at the news industry in the 20th century, how the three main components of a business model worked, how would the news industry or a news company created value? They would have journalists write articles and produce newspapers. How would they deliver this value? They would have paper boys that would go around delivering, or girls, delivering newspapers around the neighborhoods. And how would they capture value? They would have companies that would advertise, place ads in these newspapers. Now, what about the 21st century? How does the industry news look like today? It's exactly the same three pillars: creating, delivering, capturing value. But it's done in a different way. So rather than having journalists create value today, we create value. The people create the value who are using the platforms like Google and Facebook. We are the ones creating content. It's being delivered on these social platforms like Google and Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. These are all platforms that are delivering the content that we create, and is the value of what being delivered, content being captured. It's being captured through advertisements, through Google ads, Facebook ads, YouTube ads. So the process is still the same, but obviously has been updated and innovated in a different way to fit with the technology of the 21st century. Netflix's business model. So there's a range of business models that you can use and look at. So types of business models. In fact, there are many business models as there are types of business developed. Some of the most common ones: advertisement, so offers free information or service to the final customer and it's a source of revenue, or the ads published on its platform. Affiliate marketing promotes a partner's product and receives commissions on sales made through its publicity. Agency-based, aggregator, blockchain, bricks and mortar, so a company with a physical space where the consumer goes to make its purchase, so Tesco's and retail and things like that. Bricks and clicks, an operation with online and physical presence. So that's where you're getting both. The consumer can buy via the internet and collect it in store. Crowdsourcing. Here's where users contribute with the content and service provided through the platform in collective creation, such as Wikipedia. Data licensing, distribution, drop shipping, e-commerce, franchise, freemium, high touch, low touch manufacturing, network marketing, nickel and dime, online marketing, peer-to-peer catalyst platforms, SaaS, IaaS, PaaS, retailer, monthly subscriptions. Which model is best? There's no such thing as the best business model. There are plenty of successful company cases in many different business model types, but business models that use recurring revenue models such as subscription or SaaS or that use network effects such as marketplaces and platforms are powering the most successful businesses. So we've, for the benefit of the video that we're recording, as well as broadcasting, as well as understanding that you're there as a listener on Spice FM, this superior business models, we're now displaying Netflix's business model, so which is their customer segment is movie lovers, their value proposition is watch on demand entertainment where and when you want it. The channels that they use to distribute that is any device, and the Netflix app. Customer relations is self-service. It's interesting, you don't speak to anyone at Netflix. Everything's done online, and the platform is simple and straightforward to use. And the revenue streams are subscription. And then the backstage of the business is key resources, Netflix platform, movie portfolio, their production arm, which is Marker, key activities, well, they produce and license and they develop the Netflix platform, and the key partners, consumer electronics, cable companies, broadcasters, producers. And then the cost structure for their business model is production and licensing, technology, development. Amazon's business model, they have 3 customer segments. They have buyers, sellers, developers, and the value proposition for each of them is distinctly different. So the value proposition for the buyer is low price, fast delivery, and a wide selection of products. Convenience is what it's all about. For sellers, it's a marketplace with access to millions of buyers. And for business developers, it's platform as a service. And then they have a range of channels. So for both buyers and sellers, they use Amazon.com. You've got the Amazon app and the affiliate schemes that they have. But for business, they use the AmazonWebService.com. Customer relationships, once again, it's all self-service, automated. They provide some level of support. And the revenue stream's different for the 3 customer segments. So one-time sales, subscriptions, commission and sales, pay per use. So we then go through a range of mechanisms, so environment map, customer segments, business model, value proposition. This is the most important thing. Understand your customer. What are they trying to do? What do they dream about? What keeps them awake? And how your product and service supports that. And then the empathy map. Ultimately, you want to come up with a value proposition statement saying our product or service helps which customer segment who want to buy, avoiding what pain, and increasing enabling customer gain, and unlike some competition. So a very quick rattle through the whole business model canvas. So I'm hoping that you enjoyed that canter through. Apologies you didn't get the opportunity to see it, but that's it from me. I'll be back next week. In the meantime, if you need any support, reach out. SME Centre of Excellence, Asian Business Connections. We'll help you start, survive, thrive. We'll continue to connect, support, and promote. That's it from me. So thank you. You've been listening to Amar live on Spice FM, and we'll be back next week with all of your news, views, and 1 or 2 clues from the business world.
7 days a week, Spice FM 98.8.